Great. Okay. Thanks very much for those of you who were waiting for this exciting meeting to begin. Sorry to keep you waiting. A couple of us, or a few of us, were coming from another Zoom meeting, and so we needed a couple minutes to transition everybody from one virtual Zoom room to another. So here we are. This is potentially our last budget meeting of the year, which is bittersweet. The good news is that tax rate is looking like it's going to go down. It's just a question of how much. We have just a couple of more departments, and then we have sort of an overview and recap and really looking at it holistically on where we're going to go from here. So with that, Karen, you're in the middle of my screen right now. You are the center square. Go for it.
Center square. Thank you. Yes, so tonight we will be reviewing the manager's budget, the Board of Trustees, the finance and personnel budget, and then we will also be talking about capital projects and having open discussion about the budget. Dale, if you want to start by bringing up, we are starting with the Board of Trustees. And this would include the 4 board members and their budget detail. So we can start with that. You know, when we are looking at this and we're looking at salaries, just keep in mind that the salaries are broken out across the 3 funds. So it's general fund, water, and sewer. So we'll be talking about that too. But anyway, Dale, go through the details.
All right.
Oh, I'm sorry, just 1 second, Dale, before you start.
Yeah.
Members of the Board of Trustees, please check your email from an email just moments ago. Thank you.
Great. So the 1010 department is for the 4 board members. So in the 100 or 100,000 line, we have our 4 trustees. The general fund portion, 75% of their salary is charged to the general fund, 20% goes to the water fund, and then 5% goes to the sewer fund. You will not see water and sewer. We saw them at a previous meeting for those budget lines. We have 2 individuals that receive a health stipend, so that is budgeted. We have contractual board initiatives, and this is essentially a placeholder in the detail schedule. We did list prior board initiatives just as a historical reference so that you have that information. There's a small amount in for office and supplies expense, professional dues and meetings. In prior years, we had allocated $2,000 each for training and meetings and all that good important stuff for each trustee in this line. Going to the next department, this is it's called the Traffic Violations Bureau because that's what the Office of the State Controller calls it. We call it where we charge our hardship parking expenses. So we have a line for printing and postage, which is for our tags, and then assorted office supplies expense. And then this is our parking IMA amount that gets paid to the town for that IMA request. The next department is the mayor's budget. And so 75% of that salary is shown here for the general fund with a corresponding piece in water and sewer, printing and postage, office and supplies expense, and then an additional $2,000 for professional dues and meetings are allocated for the mayor. Very important here as well, of course. The next department is 1230, which is the manager's budget. So within 1230, again, the manager's department is spread out across general water and sewer. We have our village manager, Karen DeTore, our assistant village manager, Maddie Zahach, our project manager, Jamie Hoffman, junior admin, Lisa Nestor in here. Previously, I think in 2019, we had IT budgeted in here at one point, but we moved that department out onto its own, so they are separated out. We have an amount in for longevity, sick pay incentive, in lieu of vacation, telephone and internet, which I'm going to explore this number because I believe we're classifying something in this department that should be classified somewhere else from the Verizon or LightPath bill. So that is in flux. Printing and postage. I'm sorry?
No, I just said thank you because
You're welcome. Jay pulled this up for me. Printing and postage, a small amount for that. Office and supplies expense, maintenance and repair, office equipment and leases. And this is different for this year because it seems that we always charge the lease for the copier machine down to the leasing line. So I have established a budget there. So going forward, we're not overdrawn on the 407 and it's allocated correctly between the two different lines. We have an amount for professional dues and meetings, vehicle operating expense, a small amount in for fuel, and that is it for the 1230 department.
Dale, can you go back a little bit,
Sure.
to the line of the professional dues for 2020?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Why is that amount went up from what it was budget?
Because we now have Maddie and Karen attending.
Got it. Okay.
Yep. So that's why we increased it for this year.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
Thank you.
Sure. Anything else while I'm
No, I'm good for that one. Thank you.
okay?
Just because if you're only looking at the screen and you're not looking at the breakout detail that was emailed to us, it's worth for a point of understanding for the trustees that the dues and meetings, we pay dues to the New York Managers Association, the Municipal Managers Association, and the International City/County Management Association. And then there's just generic other training that's listed. Let me see it. Oh, there's something else. There's no WMOA dues?
They are under this main umbrella line, the 1920.
And
Which
NICOM is under that too?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Is NICOM under that too?
Yes, yep. NICOM is here, Historic Hudson River Towns, Westchester Municipal.
Oh, here I see it now. Okay,
Yep.
thank you.
Yep, yep,
All right,
right. Because those are just village entity-wide.
right.
Yeah,
Thanks.
sure.
So we always, when we take advantage of all of these really great NICOM trainings, many of which are free, especially now, we are actually paying, almost $6,400 a year for that. So if you have questions for, any of the experts at NICOM, you should never be hesitant. We pay our dues.
Right.
Always take advantage of their expertise. They have a
it's
great
a
wealth of
service.
It is.
And we should take advantage of it. If any of the board members want us to facilitate contacts with any of the NICOM members, we are happy to do so.
And if you're not already yourself as an elected official receiving communications directly from NICOM, you can and should. The management staff will always try to remember to forward emails and let people know about trainings, but everybody should be getting it directly themselves. You are, as an elected official, you are a de facto member because the village pays our membership dues. So.
I just
I have a
updated our
quick question.
roster earlier this week, actually. So now you're all forced to get that information.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Thank you. I was just told to do it myself 8 years ago.
Sorry, Trustee Lopez.
No worries. Are there equivalents of NICOM in other states?
Probably.
The reason I ask is because anytime I talk to people about this work, I tell them about NICOM and how beneficial I have found it as a resource. And then they ask, well, I mean, is that a national thing? Are there other equivalents? I've never, and I tried to Google it. I can't find it. I don't know if this is just New York being New York, or if there's a network of NICOMs, a NICOM of NICOMs. That would be great as well.
I would ask NICOM, but just be aware, it's not everyone, because like Maddie's more familiar with the Association of Towns, but NICOM is specifically the Conference of Mayors, specifically means just for cities and villages. It's a resource for cities and villages, which historically, and obviously there's some variation, there's some villages in upstate New York that are probably more similar to towns here in Westchester, and their you know, their actual day-to-day, the people that they serve. But the idea is cities and villages are serving, you know, a more dense population with more of its own local economy and its own local services that's different from a town. So the Association of Towns is its own organization. So the town goes to trainings with the Association of Towns each year. And I will not disparage the Association of Towns because I don't have firsthand knowledge, but NICOM is its own organization, and I'm sure that they communicate with other states, but they're not an arm of state government.
Thank you.
Definitely a great resource, though. Absolutely. The next department is our 1990, which we call contingency, and we always have an amount in here for unforeseen items that come up during the year to cover us, and we have an amount in there for contractual adjustments. 6410 is our publicity line. We stayed well under budget this year, and we brought it down a bit for 2021. Celebrations other, so this is for items like our veteran markers, Memorial Day parade band, those kind of items. Nothing expended this year. 7989 was for, we do not budget there. It just seems to be a contractual thing comes up with in regards to the Ossing Arts Council. It seems we paid for like their domain name or something as it's attached to the village. This is a new account for 2020 and now budgeted for 2021 for our ATPA charges, and you will see later on that there's an offsetting revenue line that coincides with this expense. Now we are on to the water fund, and they also have a contingency account in the water fund, as well as the sewer fund. Section 8 has one, but we do not have anything budgeted in there. So technically I could take this off of the report. It should have dropped off. I apologize. Now we're going to move on to revenues that we do have tagged to the manager's office, just because there was nowhere else to really feasibly tag them to as far as a departmental income. So the first one is our cable TV franchise revenues that come in. Those are holding strong. This is a portion for the parking meters that are in the 16 Croton Avenue parking lot, allocated there. Here is what I was speaking of before for the ETPA, the per unit fees, where we are allowed to charge back what we have to pay the state, as well as a $5 administrative fee per unit. So that's included in here. Filming permits, but I know one just came in the other day. It's not reflected here, but Lisa has definitely had some interested people. So that's always.
We are back in business.
Yes.
At
Yes.
least for the short term. We have had a few different things come up, so Burbank is back on the Hudson.
Nice. Very good. And that rounds out our revenues for the board and the managers department.
Dale, could you skip back to page 3 and talk to us about the $137,000 that we pay to the town for the parking IMA?
So page 3.
Page 3 here on my breakout.
Yep, yep. So in the parking IMA, we're charged for,
Went back to parking.
oh, did I go too far?
There it is. There it is.
Gotcha. Okay, we are charged for 1.5 people plus supervision plus corresponding contractual amounts. So part of this number is our, what we used to call Plus, but really is Passport. Our annual charges for that. So the town pays it, but then we pay it back through the IMA. So that's for the parking application, which I might throw out to Maddie in terms of that fee. Is
Yeah.
that fee going to change for 2021?
So thanks, Dale. So right now, as I discussed with the board, it's probably a couple of months ago now, right now we pay 12% of the money collected over to the vendor. Once we get the new contract inked and they start doing these extra services for us, that number is going to go way down to 6.5%. However, because we don't really know how we're going to be managing our parking, you know, it appears as though we're headed for a second wave, so I'm not sure what that's going to look like for enforcement. I would be a little hesitant at this point to mess with that number, just because we don't really know. Ideally, I'd like to make it higher, but I want to be a little conservative. I think it's about, Dale, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. The amount that the town budgets that then we embed in this number is around 70,000 a year in fees to Complus.
I believe, yeah, it's 60 or 70.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So potentially, you know, we'd be able to reduce that, you know, safely, that amount by maybe 20%, or increase. I'm sorry, increase, not reduce.
Increase.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But, you know, again, I
Okay.
would be sort of hesitant to do so until we really know what the conditions are going to look like.
Right.
What's the 1.5 people?
That's what is stated in the IMA.
And that hasn't changed since 2012 when the
Right.
resolved its court and we set up this IMA. I'm bringing it up because I know I'm not going to be around, but I know that's something that Rika really cares about and we've talked about is updating our IMAs.
Yep. Yep.
The court IMA is one of those that was done with the best of intentions based on what they predicted would be the needs in transition for the department, but that's now 9 years old
Right.
and probably not reflecting the reality of today.
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
And I think, Dale, too, the 1.5 people that was sort of envisioned as who's working the window, because more often than not, the people who are coming to the window are the people who are paying parking tickets. And so they had, you know, at one point, one person at a window the entire day, and then the other window was only open for half a day. I think that's how they arrived there.
Yeah, well, that should be way, way low for this year because I think the window is minimally operational through COVID.
Right.
We may be overpaying at some point, if that's truly a justified rate. People might have been working, but if they weren't working for the village, we shouldn't be paying the same rate. If it's in writing that that's what we're paying them for.
Right. We will take a look. Yes. Okay. Any other questions? All right. I'm going to shut this off and bring up personnel.